No, sir, you're right away for me.
Okay, if we could come to order, please. I'd like to call the Carthage City Council meeting for October 6, 2022 to order. Would you call the order, please?
Councilwoman Knappel.
Here.
Councilman Butler.
Here.
Councilman Eagle.
Here.
Councilman Peters.
Here.
Councilman Petty.
Here.
Vice Mayor Reese.
Here.
City Attorney Griffin.
Here.
Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes from September of 2022?
Motion approved.
Motion to approve, a
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have no bills over 10,000, so we'll go ahead to citizens' concerns. If you live in Carthage or have a business here, you may speak for 2 minutes if you have any concern you'd like to address here.
I'll break the ice and go first.
If you will give your name and street address, please.
Most of you here know me. My name is Mark Grover. I live at 306 Ward Avenue East, right up here at the top of the hill. Been there since 2007. Been living in this community since 1999 in Smith County. Most of you know Smith County Humane Society had a town hall meeting Monday night because there is a serious animal control problem in this city, county, really the whole state. We're just worried about Smith County. It's bad. I personally know the woman that is the president of Smith County Humane Society. She is constantly going here, going there, on the phone doing this, and it's all about stray animals, dead animals, abused animals, malnourished animals. You may recall back in January, they had a big thing where they had 48 animals, dogs, cats, and 1 rabbit. She always likes to emphasize the rabbit. And they had to go to a warehouse over in South Carthage that had no heat. It was flooded. They had electric, but it was not the whole facility. They had to have people donate heaters. Some of the volunteers that volunteer for Smith County Humane Society actually stayed there, slept on mattresses on the floor, on cots, just to care for these animals. And it was a long, hard process because they don't have a shelter. So they had this town hall meeting Monday night to try and get the public involved. And there was a good number of people there. I wish there would have been a lot more. But one thing that disturbs me, and I understand it was a short notice, but everybody on this council was given an invitation to that town hall. Only 2 that showed up was Mayor Smith and Councilman Eagle. That really disturbs me. You may have had personal reasons why you couldn't be there, and that is understandable. But I was also told that nobody that was sent email invitations from the city council responded to Ms. Pelham. And if you did and I was mistold, I apologize. But my point is, you should have been there. If there was any way possible, and you're concerned as much as some of the citizens are about the animal problem in this community, that was a good meeting to be at. There was a lot of information brought out that most people don't know. And one thing I said in that meeting that night was, citizens a lot of times close their eyes to what goes on around them in the community. Whether they don't want to get involved, it doesn't affect them, you know. And just give me, I know she said I get 2 minutes, but I want to read this real quick. The meeting was Monday. This was a post on the Smith County Humane Society Facebook page Wednesday morning, okay? It's really short what I'm going to read. If you want to know what a morning at Smith County Humane is like, in just 3 hours this morning, we have 5 dogs that need a place to go, and we have 0 spots available to hold any of them. 1 stray is at a resident's home that a call came in from the sheriff's office because the dog is not being friendly to the residents. That happens a lot in this community. People can't even go out in their backyards or let the kids go out and play because there's mean dogs out there. We need to take care of this problem. 3 that are needing homes because the owner is battling cancer and she's struggling to maintain care of the animals, and 1 that is needing a spot because it's not working out at a home where it was being held. This is just in 3 hours for 5 animals. So what they did with these cases is the 1 that is at the residence home, volunteers are sharing and trying to locate the owners. 1 other volunteer is going to assess the animal to figure out if there's a behavior problem so they can determine if there's any potential options for holding it safely at a foster. And they're also getting information on the other 3 at the lady's house that has cancer, so they're trying to find homes and rescues for those. And the 1 other one, it says they work to try and get a dog neutered, provide some education resources, and to try and keep the dog in the home where it's at. They're trying to educate the person that has the dog and better take care of the dog. That's just 3 hours, 5 instances that the Smith County Humane Society has to deal with daily, almost. And they're all volunteers. None of them get paid for any of the work they do. I'm sure if you go talk to any of them, they'll tell you that they put a lot of time, a lot of resources out of their own pockets. There's a lot of volunteers out there that foster animals, that take them into their homes. And Mayor, I hate to bring this up again, but you did make a promise in 2018 that you would do what you can to get a shelter. And I know you've done a lot for the community when it comes to the animal control situation, but there is still not a shelter in this city and or county that is capable of handling types of situations. If they were to get another deal like they had back in January, in the next couple months, it would be the same disaster situation. It would be a very difficult thing to take care of. So I think, and I know this is being broadcast on Smith County Insider, so I'd also like to put this out to the county commissioners that were not there, South Carthage elected officials that were not there. It's not just you guys. I'm not numbering out y'all. Out of 44 elected officials in this county, 7 showed up. And like I said, I understand people have things going on in their life, but for 7 to show up out of 44 elected officials on this important of a situation, why are you an elected official if you're not going to help deal with situations like this that happen in our city, in our county, you know? And I mean, there was a lot discussed in the meeting Monday, but there's a lot that needs to be done. And I understand this is the Carthage City Council, but as council members and as the mayor, we need to reach out to the other municipalities and say, look, we need to get together as a community. At the end of the day, this is not a Carthage City problem. This is an entire Smith County community problem. My mother lives out on Defeated Creek Highway. She's not in the city limits. There's stray dogs all around her house. There's days where she doesn't dare let her dogs out to go to the bathroom and do their business because there's other dogs running around. She's afraid they're going to get attacked. It's not just a city problem. I understand there's rules and regulations that we have to deal with as a city council. You can only do so much through the city. But at the end of the day, we need to come together as a Smith County community to get this problem taken care of. Okay, we good?
Close it up.
Well, I mean, you know, that's where really what we need to do. And that's what I want to put out to all you council members. This is on Facebook, all the county officials. We need to get this problem taken care of. I understand there's a lot of other stuff that goes on in this community that has to be taken care of. This is a problem that has been put on the back burner for years. Bill, you were just saying about how long you've lived in this community and you remember things the way they were 20, 30 years ago. This has been a problem that's going on for a long time. And it's something that needs to be addressed by every municipality in this community, in this county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other people who'd like to speak? Your name and address.
Justin Malden, 136 Hilltop Drive. Most of y'all already know me. I just want to introduce myself since I'm a county commissioner now, newly elected representing District 6, which includes Carthage and the Turkey Creek area. I just let you know that I'm here to assist you guys, work with you guys, and look forward to being in partnership with the city and have open lines of communication if there's ever anything that I can help y'all with or we can do for each other, just reach out to me. I'll be glad to work hand in hand with you guys.
Thank you, Justin.
Fantastic.
Anyone else who'd like to speak to this, that's here? All right. In that case, we'll move on to the mayor's report. Just a real brief thank you to everyone who was involved with Market Fest, all of the vendors, all of the food trucks, all the people who came out to shop. It was a great success. Especially want to thank the Parks and Recreation Market Fest Committee, which I want to name them because they did a great job. Carrie Lucia, Valerie Upchurch, Jason Kittrell, Sam Gray, Buddy Ingram, and John Leftwich. We want to thank all of you for making it a success. We're going to do another one. Thank you. We're going to do another one in the spring. So thank you to everyone. City Attorney.
No report for me. Unless anybody has any questions.
Okay. City report.
Guys, I just want to touch on the playground equipment. I don't really want to have to talk about this long. I just want the citizens to understand about the flood stuff and how important it is that we follow those rules. I wasn't picking on anybody. I don't hate children. I want to see progress in Carthage. I made the decision to have it removed. I put it all in your packets, what our FEMA representative and our NFIP representative has said about it, our liability insurance has said about it. Jesse, you know, I'll work with you in any way to get it back down there. I have no problem with that. We just have to do it right. We're in the middle of a CAB audit, just so everybody knows. I'm gonna.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar. Go ahead.
So when I took over city recorder, Carthage was in a bind with FEMA. We were on the brink of losing what's called our NFIP, and if we lose that, that means all citizens that have flood insurance will no longer have flood insurance unless they go through a private insurer, which is incredibly expensive. We will also not be eligible for disaster relief should this area be declared a disaster, and we will not be eligible to apply for grants should they pull that. They wanted to pull that.
Specific grants or all grants?
All grants that apply through FEMA, anything.
Any FEMA grants?
Any FEMA grant at all. And again, you know, like the 2000 flood, it doesn't matter if the president or the governor declares it disaster. We would be ineligible if we lose our compliance with NFIP. We're on the verge of that. And I had to meet with a panel of 3 people about this, one at federal level, one at state level, and the lady that kind of is their liaison. And she wants to know moving forward what we need to do. How are we going to prevent this from happening? They've agreed to close out the CAB audit as long as we stay in compliance from moving forward, since I've done everything right since we've moved forward about flood permitting. So it's just come out of that one. It's just, but people need to understand if you're going to build in a floodplain, we have to follow the flood rules. I know it seems silly. I don't necessarily agree with all of the rules. But I have to abide by them.
So is this separate? Is that-
That's the liability insurance that if we put stuff in the playground, that has to be inspected by a certified playground inspector. And if you guys want to donate, that's fine, but we have to accept it and then we have to own it. Otherwise, our insurance can't cover it on liability. So there's just a lot of ways we have to do it, unfortunately, to make it happen.
And I'm gonna piggyback off what Danielle said. I don't like none of the FEMA rules. It's
No,
hard to get
it's
something done.
ridiculous.
They are ridiculous, but we have, how many times we gotta go through some planning commission? Constantly.
Yeah,
And we've been through it on the city council here. About a year ago, we got on Mayor Smith about the same exact thing. And, you know, she was doing some stuff up there without city council approval, and I get it. But we just gotta stick with this, cause we're not making it hard for anybody but Danielle. So, and I would say, Steve wants to do good things all of us wanna do good things. Bill wants to do good things for the park. Sam, I can't mention anyone here. The Mayor Smith she's applied for how many grants for this? So I think we all here love that park and want it to expand. And we just do it the right way, and we can do some really cool stuff with that park, and we just knock it out that way. Cause it just put a damper on her, just the same way as a year ago when Mayor Smith did, put a damper on it. Let's just all find that one thing we agree upon knock it out, and I think it'll be
But I want
good.
citizens to understand, it's not just a park. If they build in a floodplain that is residential, they still have to
Yeah,
jump
yeah.
through those hoops.
And we all probably, I mean, the rules kind of, they're not cool rules, we should be able to put easy things like that in there. That's ridiculous, but it is what it is. So,
Okay.
I didn't know that affected FEMA grants either, though.
Yeah, it affects
I had
everything.
no idea.
Yeah, if they pull our NFIP, it's a big deal.
Okay, thank you. Police, Chief Hyde, excuse me, Chief Davis.
Y'all have my monthly report as usual. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask. Just to let y'all know, we had our last officer went through the academy last week and graduated, so everything's good with him. He's up to speed and training a little bit more, and doing a good job so far. So, one last thing, I've had a couple people kind of complain about the traffic light at 3rd and Main being on flash early, where we changed it earlier, where it used to be at 10 o'clock, it's at 8 o'clock now. And there's a lot of business that goes on up there, which is a good thing, and there's another business that moved up there recently, and I think that's kind of adding a little bit more congestion to the area a little bit later at night. Don't know if that's something y'all want to talk about tonight or bring up, but maybe something for y'all to think about. It is kind of hard when it's 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, and there's still a bunch of traffic up there, and the light's on flash, and you have to pull out on the main street. There's a little bit of a safety issue there, so.
Chief,
Just want y'all to-
we've had a lot of people call us about that too, so you're right on.
I can't speak on y'all's side, but like I said, we have spoke about it on our side a little bit, so. And if we ever do decide to change that, we need to change all 3 of the lights at the same time as well, so.
Thank you very much.
Is that something y'all want to put on the agenda tonight or do another night?
I don't know if y'all want to put it on the agenda, I just wanted to bring it to y'all's attention. and
I think
figure out how-
get it out of the way right now. I think we need to go ahead and move it back like you suggested.
The only thing I was gonna mention is if, maybe holding off on the decision is because on the new parking plan, there's gonna have that whole, when you're coming up, I know what the problem is, you can't see when you're coming up
Yeah,
3rd.
that's the big issue.
You come up 3rd, getting on Main, you wanna turn left, you gotta
Can't
pull
see
almost
Main
out in the
Street.
middle of the road.
That's why if we move
Yeah.
it to 30 degrees instead of 45, we should alleviate.
That'll
all
help,
problem.
that's gonna help with that, and also the new parking plan will have a huge space there. And so that'll also give you more of a visual, so that's why I'm saying maybe hold off on doing something right now, because it might fix itself, I don't know, but.
It's gonna be 6 months before we get that done at
Way
least.
that long, okay.
The one,
That's a simple thing to me, is just go ahead and do it. It shouldn't be even a council decision, in my opinion. It's roads and the police.
If it's causing a safety issue, there's no reason not to do it. Common sense says put it back.
And I'm gonna move Fight, 3rd, and the Old Bridge all back to 10 o'clock. And then if we wanna bring that up later, we can bring that up later whenever that needs fixed. If that's okay with y'all, I'll call Stansel in tomorrow and I'll let him know.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank y'all very much, guys.
Okay, Public Works, Leslie?
I don't have that, unless y'all got anything to ask.
Okay, thank you. Water Sewers, Derek?
Derek's not here,
Derek's not here, okay.
which he ain't got nothing, he didn't have nothing.
Okay. Water plant, Rusty?
No report, and I'm not asking for money, so I'll, if y'all, unless y'all got any questions. Unless y'all got any questions, that's it for me.
Yay! Okay, great, Rusty. Steve?
The only thing I got is, we got an email yesterday from Wilson County Motors, and our used sludge truck has finally arrived.
Woo-hoo.
And today, they were supposed to be sending it to the outfitters, to the tank on the back, so we're hoping by the end of October, we may actually have it ready to use. And it's been about a year in the process, but at least we got it close. That's all I got, unless y'all got any questions.
Thank you. Chief Hyatt, is he out there?
Yeah, you got it.
Fire Department?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry I didn't get you a written report. It's been a sort of a hectic week. But we ran 16 minutes, 4 others, total of 20 responses in September for a total of 237 year to date. And at the rate we're going, we'll make 300 plus runs this year. We've never been over 254, so it's been a busy year. Real briefly, we got everything submitted to the manufacturer and the vendor for the fire apparatus. and we're just waiting for some invoices to come in. All that's been done. I did respond to that email.
Yeah, I saw that, thank you.
So unless y'all have some questions,
We had any fires this month, or last month?
yes.
I mean,
Uh,
4?
Yes, sir. Not all here in town. With the automatic aid running South Carthage and Gordonsville.
What about in town? Any in town?
We've only had one call in town, the others been.
Last month?
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all.
We have two of our engineers here tonight. We have Mr. Stephen Jones and Mr. George Kurtz. Would you speak to us about some of the, if you'd like to come up here, about Main Street water line and I and water pump? Those are
So, start off with the water booster station up on Turkey Creek. Contractor is continuing to wait on the last few materials that he needs to be on site. If manufacturers don't stop using COVID as an excuse soon, I don't know what we're gonna do as an entire industry, but we're still waiting on components. Once those components are in, the contractor will be done within 2 weeks. Everything's ready just to set. They've got concrete pads and everything poured, so. The Main Street water line job will be complete and completely cleaned up in about 2 weeks. So they are continuing to put down the asphalt this evening. Once that asphalt is down, they've got a connection to go back, dig up, put a cap on. I think they've got 2 service reconnections left to make. And then it's just general cleanup, seed and straw. So that project will be wrapped up in the next couple of weeks. Yes, sir.
That doesn't include the paving though, does it?
That does not include the paving.
We're waiting on temperatures or for the paving.
Yeah, so you could pave right now. My understanding is that the paving company wants to wait until there's enough time for the trenches to settle. So, I mean, there is 57 stone in there. 57 stone doesn't settle a lot. It is a tight trench, but it could settle, and I can understand the paving company's reluctance to come in and pave a road and take a chance that it has a settling issue, and then they have to come back and address that for underground work that they didn't have any part in previously. So I can understand that. The patches are being done. The patches are smooth. It won't look like a brand new road, obviously, but it'll be there won't be any issues as far as driving on it. And the contractor is responsible for maintaining and upkeeping any of those patches if there is any settling to come back in and put more asphalt in to make sure that there's no potholes or anything in the road. So
Settling timeline?
generally, anything close to 6 months, you pretty well have 99% of the settling that's going to occur will be taken care of. So if they wait until spring, settling won't be any kind of an issue for them. So
Is that what they're saying is spring?
that was my indication that I was
That's what they're
hearing.
asking. The paving company would like to wait just to make sure it's done really well.
We're gonna hold it too. And that's probably all over there, so that's good.
So you do have a nice new water line. It's larger than the old one. It's not cast iron. It's not all barnacled up. I know that there has been a few complaints about, some rusty looking water or something. That doesn't have anything to do with the new line that's been installed. It's actually the old lines that they're tying into, reversing a flow and stuff. Some of that stuff is broken off, but I know you all have a number of other projects that you're looking at in the future to help alleviate more of those old lines in town. So as that's done, you'll have a much better water system, for the community. So, any other questions on the water line project? Okay. All right, the I&I study. So we're getting to the end of the I&I study. I was here a month ago, and we talked about, how many defects we had in the sewer system based on smoke testing. So I don't know if anybody's seen the booklets. You do have copies here. So this has all of the manholes that have been inspected, which is every manhole in the system, and all the smoke testing results in it. Just to give you an example of what's been found, I did do prints here that you can pass out. And I apologize, I didn't realize that the image quality that came off the printer wasn't quite as good as I wanted it, but what you'll see in there hopefully is about 50% of the manholes you have in your system are brick. So they were actually hand-stacked brick manholes with mortar. So if you can imagine taking, hand-stacked brick and putting it in the ground and assuming that that's gonna be watertight for 50 years, doesn't do a very good job of that. So, we've been in here, we've been talking about I&I and trying to get the flows down, the wastewater plant to help Steve and those guys out, and also open up some capacity in your system. And so, what we found is we found a lot of roots, we found a lot of leaks. You can see smoke coming from different places. One location is a storm drain. And I just pulled out 4 pictures of manholes and 4 of the defects in the sewers, so that you kind of get an idea of what, because it's spread throughout the system. It's not necessarily just clustered in one place. There are obviously locations where it's worse than others. So, we started this process with a flow study, so that we broke the system into 3 basins. We did a flow study to see which basins had the most I&I. From there, we went in and we did inspect every single manhole. So you have a map, everything's GPS located, every single manhole's been inspected. Then we set out about smoke testing the system based on what we saw from the I&I flow test. That led to finding all the defects that are in the system. And now we're in the situation of going back in the areas where we have known defects, and we're doing televising. So we're running a camera through the sewer lines so that we can see just how bad, what kind of condition the sewer lines are in, so that we know, can we go in there and line these sewer lines? Do we have to dig and replace it? What needs to be done so that we can narrow down the focus, so that instead of having to go in and rebuild your entire sewer system, we can go in and rebuild 25 or 30% of the sewer system with lined pipe and reduce your overall cost long term to get this cost down. On your manholes, what ends up happening, and I've got some a sample of the stuff that goes in there if anybody's interested in seeing it. They go in, they smooth it up with basically either a mortar or a chemical compound that kind of resembles a mortar, and then they come in and they do an epoxy spray on there. So you get a 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch thick epoxy film that is resistant to hydrogen sulfide, and between that you create a barrier where water can no longer enter into the manholes. So all those brick manholes that you have, we seal, those all end up being sealed up in a construction project. We know which frames need to be reset. I mean, some of your frames have graded manhole lids on them, so it's just basically open manhole lids that, just keep somebody from falling in them, but every time it rains, the water goes right in, or if it gets flooded, it goes in. So all of those things have been identified so that they can be fixed. So like I said, we're towards the end of the project here. We're wrapping up. We're working on wrapping up a report. We're putting together the design plans for your first rehab project. There is an item on the agenda tonight I'll go ahead and speak about. The TV cameraing, we had originally, in the budget that went in for the grant, had that as an item that would be bid out. However, because of SRF procurement regulations and how long it takes for them to approve contractors after the bids and all this, it was more cost effective for us to simply hire those individuals. So we put out an RFP, got multiple responses, chose the lowest cost response for a subcontractor and hired them directly. SRF has okayed this to come in under the professional services agreement, and so we have asked that you all approve an amendment to the contract, which is for just the cost of that. There's no engineering fees on my end that are added to that. It's just the cost of the TV of the system. So I know that comes up later tonight, but I want to go ahead and put it out to you now.
What is that additional cost?
That additional cost is listed in there at $80,000. The actual bid from the contractor is $82,500, but I've asked for $80,000 to go into the engineering contract so that I can pay. And you will only pay if they do not do the TV inspection is based on a per foot basis. If they do not do, they only get paid for what they do. So if we only end up doing $65,000 worth of TV inspection, then that would be all that was billed, and that would be all that would be submitted for reimbursement.
It wouldn't exceed 80,000.
No,
That's what.
would not exceed 80,000.
But if I'm understanding correctly, that's already in the overall budget, we just shifted.
It is in the overall budget, it's just
Nothing
shifting
new.
where how the money was going to
It's
be
not a new,
allocated
it's
within the
not a new
budget.
cost.
There's not a cost differential from what we originally voted on.
No.
It's just we're shifting it. Okay.
Just shifting
Just-
how.
That was my
Yeah.
question. Okay. I got one more question for you. As far as how you're categorizing your issues on there, are you categorizing by street, or are you categorizing by, what needs most attention, what needs least attention?
So we broke it into 3 sub-basins, and I wish now that you asked that question, I brought a big sub-basin map, but I didn't. So we broke it into 3 sub-basins, and so, we laid out, we had flow meters installed, and then based on that, and Mr. Kerrs, did the calculations on that to see how bad the I&I was coming out of each sub-basin, and we actually found at the very center of town, basically, and I'm on the wrong side to even touch that map, had the worst numbers, and so that's where we started with the TV cammering. That was the largest amount of defects, obviously, right? That makes sense to everybody. It's the oldest part of town. It has the most defects now. Some of those defects are mainline defects. Some of those defects are in people's service lines, and we talked about that before. We'll have to make a decision at some point how you want to handle that as a council if it's on private property. But what we're doing right now is we are looking to see how to get the most bang for your buck on a rehab job, and so it looks like we're going to end up in the let's say B2. I know that's zoning over there, but just kind of in the middle of town. So if you take Main Street and then you come east off Main Street, that general area right there, yeah, that general area right in there is where we've seen the most defects in the sewer system.
Would it be appropriate, Mayor Smith, to go ahead and just knock this out, or do we need to wait?
Probably we can just wait,
Okay.
He's just sort of explaining that's what, then we can quickly vote on it since he's explaining, that's okay.
And if anybody's interested in this book, I'm more than welcome to turn it over to you. It's a little light reading before bedtime.
Is that gonna be up here?
Yeah, I think you already have copies of it. You should, but I'll leave this one, I'll tell you what, I'll just leave this one right here for anybody who wants to look at it.
We have that in our email? Is that what you're saying?
No, I can email it to you if you, I can get your email address and I can email it to you if you want a PDF copy of
You
it.
just send it to Mayor Smith and you could disperse it out to us, if you didn't mind?
Yep, you want to do it that way?
That'd be
Okay.
good.
And you know where every manhole is in town. Thanks. All right, thank you very much. We'll now go into unfinished business, the second reading of P20220713, parenthesis 2, which is an ordinance to amend the official zoning code to allow self-storage units in M1 mining district. This is the second reading. We need Okay. So first I need a motion to pass it on second reading and a second and discussion, and then we can let Mr. Kelly speak to it.
Motion to approve ordinance P20220717, parentheses 2-1.
Second. Except it's 713.
P2022-713.
713 2-1.
That's the running one.
We have a motion and a second, and then we're open for discussion if you would like to suspend the rules for a minute and let Mr. Kelly speak.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of suspending the rules?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Kelly, do you want to speak to this?
I was just wondering, I heard that y'all asked me to be here, and if you got any questions, concerns, I'm here to answer your questions.
Questions I got from a couple citizens were how many lots that you planned on, if you had any idea?
I don't really have any idea. I mean, I thought I would just start out with maybe 25 and see how it goes. If that works, maybe 25 more, just see how it goes. It's not going to be like 200, I'm at 70 acres, so that's not going to, it's going to be very spread out. It's going to be very nice. I have $1 million approved to throw at it right in the beginning. It's not going to be any kind of junk or any kind of you know, something that wouldn't be attractive, you know, to the city. I hope to draw in your cute little couples that's got $120,000 campers, you know, and they wanna park them there. It's gonna be contractual, nothing older than 10 years will be allowed there. And those people with that kind of money, you know, I figure your boutique stores and your hardware stores and your restaurants would probably, you know, appreciate the business. I think it would, you know, I think it would bring you the right kind of business for those people.
And they're gonna be limited to 120 days?
Yes, yes. I mean, whatever y'all require, I mean.
No, that's what's on there, I just wanna make sure that's.
Right, yeah, whatever y'all require for the city, I mean,
Can we clarify on the map where we're talking about?
Yeah, it's up in the mining M1 up there.
The orange, which is pointing to
Over
orange.
there in the orange.
Okay.
But he's over.
It's kinda like
Well,
back up in this area,
Yeah.
right up in there.
and anybody that has, I don't know if there's other people that have mining properties like me, I've had this for 15 years, you can't do nothing with it. I mean, you can do absolutely nothing with it. I mean, I've looked at building. I actually spent $7,500 with Precision Engineer out of Kentucky. I think they've done work with y'all before, maybe, or they said they did. And I drew up a plan for a gated community. I wanted to do townhomes there, and between the spot zoning and the infiltration on the sewer, it's not allowed. So there's nothing else I can do with it. But I can do that, and I can make it really nice, and, you know, I can make profit for me, and I can make profit probably for the city.
See, that's it was kind of presented a little bit as if the council was against you or doesn't want this or something like that, and that's not the case at all.
Right.
At least it's not on my part. These questions just like this right here, how you're describing it, and what it can do for the city. I mean, that's the stuff that we needed to hear, and that's why we invited you to come and speak. So I don't want you to feel like that we're out to keep you from doing it or something like that.
I got mixed signals, but, you know, I don't pay attention to that. You know, it boils down to, you know, what it actually is.
Yeah, good.
any more questions?
I haven't been back there. Is there a good road all the way back there? So if emergency vehicles need to get back there or whatever?
That road, when I first bought the property, I actually, back then, the city council was a little different. They did things, you know, I don't know. I thought that I got a zoning change back then for commercial. Well, it turned out I didn't. So now I'm just kind of going through all this again. And I just sat on it. I didn't really do anything with it. When I found out it wasn't legit, then really commercial wasn't what I wanted anyway, because you really couldn't do that over there either. So that's when I had this idea. So, and that's where I went with it. But yeah, that road, what I was getting at, we went through that back then. That road was built for the mine. It's built up to better specs than any of your city roads. I mean, it's solid. So, I mean, yeah, it's a really good road. It has, you know, it has mine traffic, construction traffic. It's used to having that all its life, and it's a very good road. And I'm in the construction business, so, you know, I'm kind of familiar with that kind of thing. I actually do utilities, and I'm kind of, you know, interested to hear your engineer sitting here talking about, you know, what's going on in Carthage. Learn a lot, come to a meeting every now and then.
There you go, there you go. Any further questions? Okay, do I
Motion
have a
to go back to
motion?
Robert rules.
Motion to go back, second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, any further discussion about this ordinance on second reading? Okay, if not, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, it passes, thank you. Okay,
All right, thank you, guys. Do I need to be here any longer?
Unless you just want to.
I've got so much going on. But I appreciate it, and thank you, guys, and I'm gonna slip out of here. Thank you.
okay. All right, now we have a second reading of ordinance CO 2022-0804-2, which would be the Cordell Behold use limitation for height and weight. You have a motion to pass the second reading of that, for discussion.
Motion to pass.
Only with the second can we discuss, so is there no second? Okay,
This is for the height, basically put a weight limit on Cordell Bridge. We had a big scare last time. And I talked to several businesses. When that thing was shut down, you were talking about double-digit points of revenue loss, and it's a real threat. It's not if something happens to that bridge, downtown goes away again.
Do we need a second for discussion?
Give a second. I'll second it.
Okay, we have it, I'm sorry, Luke, go ahead then. I think there's something on here about 2 axles also is what we discussed. Is that what you're saying? No more than 2 axles? Did you? Yes.
I think we passed this to find out what South Carthage was gonna do.
Yeah, that's the part of the discussion I want to find out. See what does South Carthage end up doing?
Well, they didn't pass this, and we did check in. For, the TDOT does own that bridge. We double checked on that. We went back to all the old records, and there is reference in there to they're still owning it. So, my understanding is this doesn't affect that as much as just what comes in and out of the city, but maybe I'm wrong.
That's all you can regulate is what
Yeah,
happens
so-
within your own.
So we're not regulating the bridge itself, it's just what can come in and out.
You can't change it on this side if it's not changed on that side, because we're gonna have to cross the bridge, say turn around. If it's not enforced on their side of the bridge, we can't enforce it on ours.
Or possibly just stop.
Stop in the middle of the bridge and block it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes,
All
sir.
right, 2 things here. Number 1, we don't own the bridge.
Right.
We cannot legislate something we don't own. Number 2, how are we gonna enforce it? Is Chief Davis gonna go out there with a set of bathroom scales and weigh these trucks, and put 3 shifts on it? Have you got the manpower to do that?
Not very much.
With the
We
scale.
stay busy doing reports and taking calls and trying to do everything else.
Well, the problem is, the only thing we can enforce is stuff going from our side in. We can't enforce it from them side coming out.
No.
So there'd be no way to really enforce it.
There's no reason to even discuss this, I don't think, any further.
I don't either.
I think
Well,
we'll call the question. and
Seeing that
vote
we're in
on it.
discussion, I'd like to say something if that's okay, Jesse. Is that okay with you? Okay. We need to figure out how to do something, even if it's not enforcing it. If that's not the way to do it, we need to figure out to talk to TDOT about getting something enforced. It's a real threat. It's a big threat to downtown.
If we can get us and South Carthage to get together and talk to TDOT, my blessings, go ahead and do it. But for now, there's nothing we need to really talk about anymore.
I think it's a good idea. I think something's needed. We don't need
Yeah,
that
we-
weight on the bridge, but I don't know if our hands aren't tied
I mean, TDOT
unless
put
we
it-
talk to TDOT.
TDOT put it at 21 tons. That's their bridge, that's their limit. So obviously they think it can handle it.
Yeah, all I'm saying is the last time TDOT said they could handle it, within 2 months, the bridge fell apart, literally fell into the river. So again, I'm just trying to, my goal is to look out for Carthage, and I understand TDOT owns it, but we need to probably
When did the
unify
bridge
on
fall in
this.
the river?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Jesse, you got-
So on 70, about 4 years ago,
Well, yeah, but
you asked a question, well, I'll clarify, you asked that question.
Can you-
About 4 years ago on Highway 70, it fell in the river, like literally pieces of the bridge fell in the river.
okay.
That really did happen.
Highway 70 doesn't go across
Excuse
the
me, Jesse,
bridge.
Jesse,
TDOT bridge.
Just calling the question. I like to
I'm
vote on
done.
it.
you call the question?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, let's vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so that's
I
carries.
abstain.
One abstention. Okay, thank you. The next item, we had 3 applications for the CMFO. So far, no one has been able to come back to interview, so we're still looking. We had three ladies who all had accounting backgrounds, but they're not available tonight to speak, so we're searching, yes.
I got a question. Did we find out if we could hire out contractually our former CMFO? Did we find that out, if that was a possibility that we could do as far as just crime?
Responded in an email to y'all.
Send everybody,
Okay, I was just wanting to make sure everybody can,
Yeah, we could, but it's still, he's not gonna go due to the circumstances that it falls under.
so it's just the next thing.
Done for
Okay,
now.
so, the
So,
next.
so, again, and the CMFO for months, what's happening what's happening? We don't have a CMFO right now.
Well, we've had a company who's been keeping us up to date, but we're still looking for someone who can do this full time. And that's what we're really needing, and a lot of people, we had one very good candidate, and I'm trying to talk to her again, to see if she'd be willing to come on board full-time.
Are we looking for someone, what is are we trying to get someone that has a CPA, or are we opening it for more people?
No, the ad says basically you have a degree in accounting, or I think it's 3 or 4 years of professional.
Okay, all right, just checking.
Not a CPA, because as long as you have knowledge of accounting principles, that's what they need to apply. Okay. We'll keep looking. If you have any good prospects, please tell them to apply. There's not a dearth of accountants available right now, unfortunately. Okay, we have to extend the permit on the road closure for the Veterans Day Parade. Councilman Babcock, Eagle, who wants to
I'd
start
say
this?
to make a motion to amend it so they can leave it closed till 6 o'clock, that's all they have.
Second.
Okay, a motion, any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
That's already been covered. I just wanted an update. Citizens had called about an update when the time frame was, that's what we needed, so that's taken
We'll
care
take
of.
that off. Okay. The next item is flags and lights, Councilman Seaver.
Yeah, I had someone bring this up to me, and it's my fault, I dropped the ball on this, but I brought this up a couple years back, I believe, it was at least a year and a half back, about make sure we have proper lighting on all our flag poles, wherever our flag poles are, and, you know, we're doing our, everything that's entailed that goes with the flag, making sure we're up to date on flag code. So I was just gonna get an update. Again, I'll take responsibility because I haven't kept up with this unfinished business, but it technically goes under unfinished business. So
I thought we had approved to do that.
we are getting a bid
For
on
lighting.
lighting, and then never heard about it again. So I didn't follow up on it, so I'm not trying to point fingers or anything like that. I'm just trying to get an update is
I
all.
believe there is a light, but it has to be redirected down in Park, so we need to, we tried several times to put solar lights on that, so we wouldn't have to burn additional lights.
Well, also City Hall and also fire station. We have flag poles. So it's basically wherever you have a flag pole.
Do we not have a light out here?
As long as the flag is flown at night, it has to be well lit.
Yes.
Not on county.
No, not county, just city flags.
Yeah, the
I'm sorry, do we, I thought we had
I
one.
think you want to have a corner, stripe on the flag.
There is one here at City Hall.
No, I went by probably about 3 weeks ago and about the fire hall, they weren't a flag.
I don't want my fire hall.
Yeah.
I don't want my fire hall.
But yeah, I mean, if you could
Sure, we'll
look
put
in
that
that,
on.
Mayor Smith, that'd be awesome.
Put that on. I know we tried several solar lights down at the city pool. So we'll put that on. Okay.
So, okay, I have a question then. So if one of those is at the city park, right?
That's correct.
What goes with that? What's all the same issues, the
Same
site
thing.
plans and all?
Exactly right.
Well, if it's underground lights.
If you dig at all.
If you touch, yeah, if you plant a tree, we gotta, yeah.
Okay.
I know,
That's why
it's,
we're trying to-
And survey and, I mean, it's gonna be all the
All
same.
flood permitting apparently requires surveying, so, I mean, all of
So
it.
that's why we were trying to do solar lights down there, because you just stick those on the pole and that's, here you go. But
That's why the sand was removed. You can't put fill in there either.
Sand never should have been there, but that's fine.
I don't disagree, I'm just saying, when
Jesse,
it comes to flood
they
stuff.
lit me up about the height of the flags that people wanna put on their personal property on Main Street. I mean, yeah, and it's not Daniel.
I'm
she's
not
being-
trying to point it at you. What I'm saying is, if it's gonna be one way for one thing, it's gonna be it for all of them.
I'm not
It's
saying-
gotta
I
be
know
that way
that.
for
I know.
everything.
I'm just being clear.
Yeah.
No, I gotcha.
I guess I won't mention the mulch not count.
Mulch was already there, it's grandfathered in, we can change mulch.
It got removed and.
After you put sand on top of it and remove the sand and put mulch back, that's okay? I'm just asking, I just wanna make sure we're all.
Mulch can be replaced by mulch. The
She's-
sand should have never been there.
She's gone to all this like,
No, I know, it's not.
she's gone to all this like FEMA school. Like,
We know,
it's-
and
it's-
I will tell
yeah.
you, I did not know that the sand went in there until I was sitting in this office,
Yeah,
having this conversation at a company.
All right.
that's who
Okay,
we should all lean
Yeah,
on.
let's move on.
We do. We
Yeah, that's
say
good.
that.
Let's not talk about that
Okay.
too long.
We'll move on since Mr. Jones is still here. New business is amendment to the water management service agreement.
Motion.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion to approve. Do I have a second? Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who said it first?
Go ahead, you wanted to hire both of us.
Okay, any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, so that one's taken care of. Then we have a resolution to apply for ARP funds. Mr. Jones, if you want to speak to this, but basically all we have to do, they require a resolution by the council so we can actually apply.
Is that for $698,000?
Yes, sir, so
It's
if you're,
seven.
Well, I was gonna make a motion. to
Okay.
approve. We're
Yeah.
gonna-
I'm
Well, you
seconding.
you
Let's go
have
for
to
it.
put 15%
Yes,
local
15%
fund.
match, yes.
Okay,
I
just making
second.
sure everybody
Okay,
understood.
we have a motion and second. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, that passes. Then we go to Leslie. Do you have a new hire?
The new hire, y'all got his application, I think, like, that's one thing Derek picked, 7, we went through, interviewed 3. One didn't interview because he found another job better, and then the other one didn't want to leave his job at Bonnell, so that left it with 1, so that's the one I picked.
Okay, that's
My question would be if we, not to step on your toes, but do we need a new hire? Because we did push out the mowing to not be public works. So I'm concerned that maybe we don't need to replace, I know we're replacing Chaz.
right.
Maybe we don't need to replace Chaz?
Oh, believe me, they have plenty of work for that.
We need to.
One more person?
Well, we're not increasing, it's just,
No.
it's just the same number of people.
Just replace it.
Right, but we've cut down on some work too, though, quite a bit. I mean, a lot of, all that mowing is gone.
And there's questions whether that went well too.
Well, I think they've more than compensated for all the lines and things they've been working on and fixing. But unless you speak to that.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad question that you've asked, but
Thank you.
I think that's why, like, I think probably what we would want to ask is like, what's that been replaced with, you know, as far as it goes? Because there has also been a lot of things that I think have been neglected, and that was a big reason why I was like, let's push this contract over to this so that we can stop neglecting these things. And I think that was a big.
What are you talking about, the contract?
The mowing.
Oh.
The mowing.
About the hiring, I wasn't talking about the mowing.
No, what Jesse's asking is, he's asking, well.
I know what he's asking.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to middle ground it here is say, basically, I think there was things that you all were needing to get done, and it was harder for y'all to get done because you were doing all the mowing, and now they can get it done. So I think it's a good question to know what's been switched up. I mean, just
I asked my question. I mean, I was
Yeah.
directly.
I had another question about the hire, but I just this other person I couldn't vote for anyways because they are a friend of mine and I have to abstain when they're friends.
I know what you're talking
Yeah. So
But
he.
I liked him.
Yeah.
Exactly what,
Yeah.
but he didn't want to leave Bonnell.
Was it a Bonnell person?
Yeah.
I don't blame him.
He was someone who asked me tonight. He's like, they never called me back.
Oh, well, that's not him then.
Okay. So I don't want to mention no names, but
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that up because it sounded like he really wanted the job. And I told him when he came to me, he's like, what do I need to do about this? I said, I'll give you a recommendation. I can't vote for you. So, you know.
Are we looking for a motion to approve the hire?
Yes.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll vote.
Okay, thank you. Then. Okay, for our police department, Chief Davis, you have a request here?
Yeah, just real quick, guys. So, been talking to my officers, and I've always told them I support them any way I can. They've come to me and asked for the possibility of them starting to possibly work 12-hour shifts. I told them it was something that we could do. We'd let them look into it and look into the possibility of that. So I've kind of
Not to cut you off. That's
okay. And so I've looked into it. I think it's something that's probably going to be feasible. My biggest problem right now is the personnel policy kind of contradicts that. Pretty much says that you have to work a 40-hour work week, essentially, and you get paid every week. So what I'm asking is if I can talk to the attorney and MTS and try to work out a possible amendment to the personnel policy somehow, shape, or form, and I can try to bring that next council meeting, and maybe y'all look at it and see if y'all are okay with it.
I don't even need a motion.
Well, if we do it though, I guess I need y'all's blessing to try to work on it.
bless
Bless it.
Well, it's like, yeah, go ahead. If they
And
wanna-
I'll try
if
to
they wanna
bring-
work 14 hours a day, we don't care, as long as
And
they're
I'll
happy.
try to bring something back next council meeting for y'all to look at, because
Yeah.
if we have to change the
That's gonna be
personnel policy a
the
little
attorney
bit.
and you.
I don't think we need to change it, Chief. They gave me a copy of it, and I just saw it for the first time before the meeting, and this just says that the FLSA, Fair Labor Standards Act, will govern overtime compensation of municipal employees. And this also references Section 7K of the FLSA, and that Section 7K is what allows law enforcement officers to work up to 43 hours a week or adopt a work period up to 28 weeks. Or 28 days.
Be careful, I talk to you afterwards or some point in
Sure,
time.
but what the point is, what you were proposing, doing a 36,
I know
44
county is
split
sometimes a big-
will work under the FLSA, if you adopted a 2-week work period. And I don't see any need to change the personnel
Would
policy.
that require them to be paid every 2 weeks?
No, and so what they can do is to work 36 hours on week 1, work 44 hours on week 2, and each week they get paid as if they're working 40 hours. That way it's.
a cumulative kind of thing.
I'm good with that, I just didn't know if it would be a labor board issue, because I think y'all get paid after 40 overtime now, right? They're
We
not
are.
following-
And so that's the question is.
Yeah, they're not following the 43.
Right, and so that's the question, because you said it was in the personnel policy, but I looked in the personnel policy, and that's not.
Well, the main thing was just that it
If there
said
is
in
an-
there.
If there is an independent ordinance that says
I'll look
police
at
get
it.
paid over 40 hours overtime, then that would require a change. But I don't see that
You
here.
had to do it, make it work.
I'll work with it, I'll work with the attorney and I'll see what I
We
can
kind
do.
of talked about that too, Chief. It would be 80 hours for the 2 weeks. If you go over that would be the overtime if we did it.
That's what I was looking at, yeah. Overtime would be based
Well,
on.
not if the FLSA applies, if there's some independent ordinance that says.
That would be
police
86
get-
hours.
Right, that's right. So if there's some independent city ordinance that says police get paid overtime after 40 hours, then we need to change that ordinance.
Councilman, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's good discussion. I know just from being on the county commission, you might want to make sure it's not going to affect vacation days, vacation pay. Would it make a difference in that? Because I know sometimes it did when I was on county commission.
Okay.
So I might want to look.
Because 8 doesn't go into 12.
Do what?
8 hours doesn't take 12 days. If you got a 12-hour shift, you take 8 hour vacation day, you're short.
It would cost them more, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, they're gonna be losing vacation days off, so.
But they also work less days too, so.
I'm with you.
Then, you know what I mean, like,
I do it right now, I know.
I'm trying to do the best what I can with the department. I'm not trying to really ask for much more of the council and the town. I'm just trying to do what's best for the officers and also help them and help the city at the same time. What I'm trying to do here. And
See how it balances.
see how it balances, and we may have to come back and talk to y'all again about it at some point in time, maybe, and see what y'all say.
We'll get you what you need.
Make it work.
I will talk to the attorney, and
Run it by me and I'll tell you
we'll
if you can do it.
figure out some stuff and go from there. Thank y'all very much, guys.
Thank you, Chief.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Vine Avenue drainage issues, Councilman Evil?
Yes, so, if you go down, like, take a right on, like, or if you're going down Fight, heading east on Fight, going down the hill, then up the hill, right past Spring Street, there is a drain right there, and it's actually a pretty nice drain. It looks like it runs the water pretty fast. It's all cemented in, and then you're going underneath the road. And I've had 2 different neighbors down there say that when it gets flooding pretty heavy, like it's a big downpour, it backs up and it floods houses, and it's cost them tens of thousands of dollars. And one of them told me that they were like considering a lawsuit possibly, and I that's just what they told me. I didn't go into detail on that or anything like that. Not that I claim responsibility, because I have no idea who's responsible for this drain. However, I was wondering if we can see about doing a study, because I think it's not necessarily that drain, because it looks like a nice drain, it's clear. I think it's further down, like if you're heading towards, like from Fight, if you're heading down towards like Ward Avenue. I think it's maybe possibly getting clogged up there, and I'm not sure who would be responsible, the cities, but I figure anyways, we figure out who has the responsibility for it, and maybe we could do a study on that. And I don't know if there's something we can do. It's a city ditch? Okay, so,
I've got an engineer come in tomorrow to look at it to tell me what I can do about it.
oh, perfect.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, awesome, so.
And
Make me a motion.
I'd like to add something to that too. I've talked to the same people, and they want something over top of that too, over the concrete if possible, some sort of grading system, because they're worried about kids falling into it.
You know what I'm talking about, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like a foot and a half, 2 feet
Yeah.
deep, yeah. So, but yeah, that's all, and then if we can keep this on the,
What needs to happen is the tile and all the road is not big enough.
Go on to the mayor.
Ain't big enough. A normal rain, it makes it fine.
oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
a big hard rain,
Should fit in 3
put tile in there, you're gonna drill a ball.
Danielle just didn't get it.
It's going back down on somebody else, go straight.
But, if we can keep this
Maybe I
on,
missed.
on the agenda, just for unfinished business, so we can get an update on it, that'd be great. That's all I had on that, thank y'all.
We can
Thank
check
you.
on the rate for concrete.
I think, yeah, maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm not an expert, I just say we look into it, if they recommend a
I
grade,
don't want it in there, but you know.
yeah.
Okay, next item is letters to citizens, Council Petty.
I'd like to first interject that I think that when we make motions, even though they sometimes get amended and whatnot, I think it would help Danielle in particular, and the rest of us too, if we would type them out and send everybody a copy, so she's got a worksheet to work off and we've got a worksheet, because sometimes we get to amending this, that, and the other, and it's hard to figure out what we're voting on. That's just a suggestion that we
You're just
do.
talking about making it a little more organized when we bring stuff to the council.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And my motion to ban any city employee or city council person from using city money, including city paper and printing, postage, and city employees to prepare documents, including delivering to the post office without the approval of the city council.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, we have a discussion.
Yeah, and I think this is fair because it just allows, like, we're gonna have to send stuff to citizens. It's not bad to know what's going on. However, when and how we send these things,
And what we're saying.
again, let's run it through the city council, what we're sending. It's on behalf of the city. That's, again, where it's at. And that, again, the way I interpret this, and I know not everybody does, but the city council is the legislative body here. And now there's day to day that the mayor's office runs. But we need to make sure that there's a clear distinction. If it's the city, not the mayor's office, that's a city council situation. That has to do with city council. So if there is something that costs us a ton of money in postage, yeah, I think that needs to be rolled by the
Probably
city
about
council.
$1,100 per mail out.
Yeah, and that's a lot of money, you know, and it's okay to let people know what's going on, but we just need to do it through this, so it's, anyways, I don't wanna be a dead horse, I'm just saying.
Just one point quickly, this says any city employee, I think it would encompass like utility billing and mailing. It might be a little bit.
Billing is totally a different situation.
So we need to.
The way this is written, it
With the
it would
with the
encompass any,
exception
anything that would go out.
water
in the mail.
billing.
So
Exception with-
informational mail out.
Informational, yeah. And
Throw in the word information, I'll amend to throw in information.
Official
I'll
city-
second that.
Official city business.
yeah, official city business, fine.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Official, as long as it's official
Informational is
city
not a word,
business.
informative.
Informative.
For a point of clarification, I think, because I'm not sure from the language, as you all know, since 2019, the mayor's office has been sending out newsletters to most of the people in town, all the people.
So that would have to be approved.
So everyone I've talked to really enjoys this, because not everyone sees Facebook, not everybody watches this, but they do get the updates. and
Trust me, everyone doesn't like it.
Yeah, I'll do
People are
respect
irate
Mayor
about us
Smith.
spending that kind of money.
Not mean to cut you off. I don't mean to do that. I just want to know how much it costs each newsletter. What does it cost? What's the cost to send it out to
We would
everybody?
have to- It's the same billing, it's the same thing we send out to the water customers, so that's.
Right. So how much does that cost?
I would have to look it up, I don't have it
So
right in
we're
front of
just-
me.
Ain't there roughly 1,100 water meters in town, ballpark figure?
Yeah, but remember, we don't pay that kind of rate, it's the same rate that we pay.
It's 57 cents per letter plus envelope.
Well, no, it's a different rate for a city.
Got it right here.
Let's say 57 cents?
57 cents.
Yeah, that's what it costs you to mail it to
Plus the envelope, plus
Paper.
the printing and the paper and whoever stuffs them and whatnot. It's gonna be close to $1.
A little over 2,000 people.
Yeah, it's
No,
up to
200
No,
something.
it's to a household, it's not to individual people, it's to a household.
the household, yeah.
Okay.
What
How many is that?
There's, what, 7? What do we have?
I don't know, Mayor, I don't
We'll have to look it up.
remember in.
It's everybody that gets basically.
Either way, we have a motion on the table, we have an amended.
We just want the council to
amendment
approve
to
that
official
kind of
city
spending.
business, you know, like
So
mailing
let me,
bills, so
let me
on
be
and so
clear
forth
again,
that way.
because this comes out of the day-to-day mayor's office. So you're basically saying that you don't want the citizens to have a letter from the mayor's office.
Is it coming out of the mayor's
That's
budget?
not what
We
we
just
said.
want to see it, and we might have something to add to
Yeah, we
it.
might wanna put something in there instead of repeating over and over and over the same things every month.
Yeah, the thing is, Mayor Smith, and I mean this with all due respect, not everybody likes getting all these letters, and that's okay. Not everybody likes hearing from me all the time either, and that's okay.
But you're doing it on your dime.
Yes, I'm gonna do it on my dime. And that being said,
But wait a minute, it's not my personal letter, it's a news coming out from the city, and I.
but
Let
it's,
me-
we-
may I-
we-
may I-
vote.
may I
so we're
finish, ma'am?
with you.
I think most of us will disagree. That was your.
It's news about the city. She's right. If it's news about the city, so since it's news about the city, it should come through the city council. That's all we're saying.
Well, then you're taking away the
Just trying
day-to-day CEO, I mean, you're more than
It's not a
welcome.
day to day. It's
You're more
a.
than welcome, but I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you, some of the people in town really appreciate getting it, because not
And
everybody.
they'll
else-
still get it.
We'll still get it, but we.
We'd like to look at that.
Yeah.
We could have.
There might.
Here from to pick it up if
Yeah.
they want.
Councilman Peters might want to add something in there. You know, say I want to. You know, there may be something we don't want to add in it as
Certainly your
well.
call, if you
So
wanna do it,
you know.
certainly your call.
You wouldn't be against us putting something in there with yours, with what you put together?
If we can come together as a body, we
That's
can't-
all we're asking.
We can't do it
We're all cool with
individually.
that. All right,
We
so
can't.
same
Wait,
page.
May I finish?
I'm asking a
You-
question.
Because you know, if you individually, 2 or 3 of you get together and talk about things like this without it being a public meeting, that's a violation of the Sunshine Law. You are aware of that, right?
Yeah,
2
absolutely.
or 3 people get together and do something outside of the
Well,
city council.
That's
So
what
we
we're gonna do at the meeting.
That's what we do right here at the meeting.
All right.
Totally
Any
good with
further-
that.
Any further discussion on this?
Call the
All
vote.
in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
That was just on the.
That was in the amendment, so we need to vote on the actual one.
I'm sorry?
We gotta vote on the actual
Yeah, he amended it to say,
official city business.
yeah.
To exclude official.
Just read it as amended, I'm not sure where official city business.
You would read it as amended?
The motion to ban any city employee or city council person from using city money, including city paper, printing, postage, and city employees to prepare documents, including delivering to the post office without the approval of the city council, excluding official city business.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Okay, that passes. Okay, thank you. Now we go on to Jefferson and Main Street light discussion.
Okay, I had several people on Jefferson ask for putting a light back in that used to be there. My recommendation to everyone who asked was that you include everyone on Jefferson in the discussion and maybe do some sort of a town forum on it or something. But I've had several people ask that we put a light back in and see what the benefits are, whatever's not the benefits. But I don't know how we would want to move forward on doing that. But I think it's worth having a discussion with people who live on Jefferson. And they can show up and speak their piece on it, and we can make a decision based on it. But
And possibly get a cost and see what the cost would be.
get the cost on it,
Because
yeah.
I think it's gonna be rather costly because there's nothing there anymore. No wires, no nothing.
Chief, could you kind of give us a history or background of that?
I don't know all the history. I know they were both taken out about the same time, but that one, Second Avenue. If you're asking me my personal opinion, I think Second Avenue is probably a little bit more important
I was
based
gonna
on
mention
safety
that one.
wise. It would actually slow traffic down a little bit more on Main Street. Not saying the one at Jefferson is not important, but at the same point in time, if you're looking at both of them, I'd say Second Avenue was
The
probably.
one on
How-
Second,
how long have they been
I'd
out?
like to look at that one, the one on Second.
I think close to 10 years, isn't it?
I'm gonna say probably somewhere between 6 to 10 years.
Yeah, it's close to 10 years they've been gone, so.
Well, I was asked to bring it up to y'all, so I'm bringing it up to y'all if we want to move
We can,
forward and do something on it. So
I'm just glad we're talking about something other than Main Street. We hardly ever talk about stuff in the town.
Well, that is.
It is on Main Street.
Well, I know, but I just mean
Downtown.
downtown Main Street. We're
Yeah,
talking about
there's
the rest
other
of the
issues.
city.
It's an amazing thing.
I think it's good that we look at it at both situations. Probably the one at Jefferson and Main Street influences me probably more than anybody else in this room. It probably slows me down, but I still think it's a pretty good idea. There's a lot of traffic goes through there.
I guess it has to do with what everyone was saying. Times of the day when the sun's shining in your eyes, you can't see to turn out, and you got to pull out. It's kind of the same stuff on Third. So
Exactly.
again, I just think we should hear from who lives there, and that's
Let's
all.
just
So.
put it out for public.
That's what I was gonna say. We make a motion to, if you don't mind, or you wanna make it, or you
Go
want me to
for
do
it.
Can
Just
we look at both of them?
Yeah, let's make a motion to look at both of them. We can put it on for next month and invite the citizens to come and talk maybe before the next meeting or at the next one. I don't mean either
Should
way.
we have a special call meeting about 15 minutes before, not more than
Before, yeah, on the same day. Yeah,
Let's go 30 depending, because 15 minutes ain't gonna give us a whole lot of time.
that's true.
And Jesse, add in that motion that now we're discussing this right now. Okay.
Make the amendment.
Okay. So do we got a second on your motion?
I don't think so, not yet.
I'll second.
I don't think
Did
we
you
ever got.
finish it?
I don't think we ever got a second on you bringing it up.
One motion.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever made an official motion
I don't
about
think you
this.
did. That's why I was asking to add something.
Well,
So that being said, is that we do send a letter out to people on Jefferson.
there we go.
Yeah, we're talking about it, aren't we?
Save a lot of
Whatever
money. We can all
everybody-
just go and knock on the doors and tell them to be here.
Yeah.
Are you talking about all of Jefferson?
I don't think it's just a Jefferson problem, to be honest with you. I think it's a citywide
Can
problem.
we not
because-
just put it in the courier
Yeah,
and
I'd
you
say
guys will grab it?
Put it
Yeah, I
there.
think you
It
put
that
it down
way.
so that's
I mean,
is that
we can-
okay with you?
I have no I just want to make sure we're inviting people and people know it's
Can
going to
we not
happen.
type
Because not
that-
everybody has the courier. Not everybody,
Can we not type little notes on the bottom of the water bills?
We can.
We have to send the water bills out every month. Why can't you put, hey, there's a special call?
But I don't know if that'll come out.
I'll bring it up. That's all.
I can
That's what
ask
it is.
Cindy. I don't know if that, I don't know when it goes out versus the,
Okay, I was saying maybe we could do
but
that.
I can ask
In the
her.
future, we can just put a little note on the water bill.
No, because
But
it
everybody
goes
looks
up
at
the
those.
beginning of the month,
Yeah,
Because everybody looks at the water
so
bill.
it may not.
yeah, I'm afraid that,
But she's limited with the number.
yeah, there's a
But I
number
mean, it
here.
had to just,
Special call meeting.
meeting on
I'm
red
good
line.
with whatever y'all, however y'all want to do it. I just want to make sure people know about it. That's all. So
You tell
whoever.
me, y'all tell me the motion and what you want done.
Mine was to have a special called meeting maybe 30 minutes before next month's meeting.
5:30, November 3rd.
There you go. And however
I'll
you got it.
second.
To do what now on the special call?
To discuss the Jefferson main light as well as
Second Avenue.
Second Avenue.
Yeah, I'll take care of telling people. I'll just knock on everybody's door. That's fine.
So it's,
My bill only comes the third of the month, so if the meeting's on the third, it ain't gonna work out.
Well, if we were planning, let's say we did want to do it for next month, we could actually send a little note out or
Mine
whatever.
comes the third. So it won't help.
I mean, it
Okay,
hasn't
we
been there
have
for
a
10
motion.
years, so
We'll
we
put it in the courier. Do you want?
do you want to advertise the courier?
That's y'all's call. I just, if it doesn't.
Yeah, let's advertise the courier. How about that? Sound good?
That's good compromise.
All right.
so we have
Fine by
a
me.
motion. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Butler Alley speed bumps?
Ooh, y'all gonna be excited about this one. It's another street. Butler Alley, had a couple people ask me about taking out the speed bumps and patching it up. It's not a, doesn't look like a high priority project. I looked at it, but it was asked and I was told I'd bring it up, so I'm bringing it up to y'all.
Tell me where Butler Alley is.
We're all asking that question.
Butler
I've
Alley's
seen
a
it.
little,
It's
it's
the
a
third alley
little
down on
teeny tiny.
Carthage.
No, it's not. It's not. Well, yeah, it is on Carmack too. It's,
It goes
it's between
through.
Carmack and Jefferson.
Yes, it goes
It's a little teeny tiny one. And you go down, go down Carmack's on the right. Go down Jefferson is on the left.
They want speed bumps?
No, they wanna
There's
take-
a speed bump in the middle of it.
Oh, they want to take it out?
Yeah, they want to take it out and to get it patched up. I don't think it needs to get a whole. I think patches will be just fine. It didn't look like it was
I
like.
think a speed bump in the alley is a good idea because
I do
alley's,
too.
it's a one-lane road. You don't need to be going any faster than then the speed bump will allow you to.
I guess it was the one of two people that lived on the alley that asked for it, so.
I'm just saying, I think it's a good idea, but that's just me.
Okay.
I think
So,
it was.
I just,
Les,
It's
do you have
their
any-
alley, so
any
it's not
input on
mine.
that? No?
It was put there, the people who used to live there had kids.
yeah.
They was driving back and forth there so fast, we put it in, that's what it was put there for.
It's for safety.
They're asking to take it out now, so I'm relaying
I
that.
recommend not to.
Okay.
Let's
And
do
also
the patches. Let's
patches.
do the patches.
Okay.
Let's
We'll
look at
look
it.
and
Let's
see
look
what-
into it.
Let's just look
We'll
into
look
it.
at it. I'll look
I'm
at it.
not a road expert,
Well,
so
I
I'm
drove
just bringing
through
it
there
up.
because
Yeah.
you had it on there to see what, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
You think it needs patches?
No, I don't think it needs patching.
If you just want to
Y'all
look
go out
at
there
it.
and y'all look at it, see what y'all
Yeah,
think.
I drove through it, it seemed okay to me, but I'm not a street guy either, so.
I'm not either.
But you probably just came off of Main Street.
But you drove
which
on
made
it?
that
Yeah,
look
man, it was
pretty
awful
good.
smooth compared to
You
Main
drove
Street.
on it?
I walked on it.
And you think it needs patching?
You know, go up on Hillcrest, look at
I
that.
need one patch.
Yeah, Hillcrest is horrible.
After patch?
It is.
Okay,
It's,
um,
right.
so we're gonna let Les check it out and
Yep.
move on. Speed limit around City Park, Councilman Petty?
I would like to see us adopt a speed limit of 15 miles per hour on Industrial Drive from Park Avenue to Hackett Avenue and going up West Jefferson no more than about 50 feet because there's so much people parking with their kids, with the ball fields, with the city pool. And I think that's the least we can do for the safety of the kids down there.
you said
Second.
park to Hackett,
Is there no question?
all of West Jefferson?
No,
No,
just,
he said
just
50
the first, say, 50 or 100 feet going up, because nobody parks past there, going up the hill.
That's with that really wide turn
Yeah,
we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's not how you make half the street,
I
whatever,
I second that.
but I'm good with the park to Hackett. I just don't know how you do a half street.
We have a motion.
You just put a sign up.
Well, hold on, we have a motion second. Now, please discuss, whatever discussion you want.
I think,
I mean, we can, I mean, it's like a 800-foot street, but
Exactly, but that's all that we need right there. We don't need it the whole length of Industrial Drive.
people do speak through there, and it is a kid zone. We want that more friendly for kids, so I have no issues with it.
okay.
So it'd be 25, and then when you see the sign,
It
it
goes,
15.
goes to 15.
We wanna
Comes
make-
down, really.
We want to make this a kid zone. We want this
Yeah.
to be fun for kids, and down the road when we go through Danielle to do more park improvements, we want this to be a friendly kid zone. So
Oh, yeah.
I have,
And I'm not like I'm expecting the chiefs to manpower this with the radar guns and
yeah, he
everything.
needs to have about
But-
3 people in their shifts, man.
But yeah, I know it. But maybe Eddie can run a little piece in it, and we just, in other words, we're basically encouraging people to slow down a little bit more.
It's a good
because-
idea. Can we vote on it?
Yes, can we vote on it?
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, review of sealed bid procedure.
All right, this is a question for you, Mayor Smith.
Sure.
Can you explain to the council, because I'm just curious, because I'm ignorant on the sealed bid procedure. What is the procedure for reviewing sealed bids as far as that goes?
Sealed bids are usually, if it's over 10,000, and actually, our engineer could actually address that better than I, because he handles a lot of that, so you kind of explain how you go about doing that.
I'm glad I hung around.
Yeah.
So sealed bid procedure is, I don't remember the exact TCA code to reference it to you right now, but basically, if you have to do a bid, so it's over your monetary limit, you can proceed without doing a bid, just doing on a proposal. All bids have to be received by a certain time. You cannot open any bids after that time. So let's say when we do bids for your water system, for your sewer system, we set it up for 2 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. If somebody walks in with a bid at 2:01, based on my watch, we cannot accept that bid, so we have to turn that bid away. On top of that, there's requirements on how the bid has to be filled out on the outside of the envelope by the state of Tennessee. The state of Tennessee requires that the bidder identify the project, they identify their contractor's license number, they identify their contracting classifications, so that we can identify whether or not they are licensed appropriately for the type of work that they're bidding. Monetary limits, any subcontractors, if they're electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and a couple of other things. So those are the general criterias that you fall under for somebody to turn in a sealed bid. Now, once you open the bid documents themselves can have additional requirements in there. You generally are going to require there to be a bid bond where a contractor is guaranteeing a 5% of their bid that they will complete the project once they've turned in the bid or lose their bid bond. That's not necessarily in all bids depending upon what you're doing, but in larger bids, that is a very common thing to have in there to make sure that you don't have someone who's going to bid a project and then decide 2 days later that they made a mistake and they don't want to honor their bid anymore. You know, I mean, proposal forms and things like that are generally set up dependent upon, you know, who the engineer or the entity that you're working with is, you know, whether that be an architect or whatever, into a standard format.
Does that answer your?
One more question. So, who opens the sealed bids?
The sealed bid can be opened by anybody representing the city, so that can be done by a city official. I generally do that. I have some cities that open them, and I'm just there to make sure that everything is done appropriately, because when you open the bid, you actually have to read everything that's on the outside of the envelope prior to opening the bid. Generally, if you've got an engineer, an architect, or somebody like that, they will end up reading the bid on your behalf to make sure everything's done correctly.
Okay. So we basically, we have an official that we've entrusted to open these sealed bids, make sure that we're following proper procedures, and there's, okay.
And it's specifically for projects like you described.
Okay.
So usually it's the engineer, because they put out the specs
Yeah.
and all.
Yeah, and then Mr. Jones usually opens.
Okay.
Any of our bids like that.
Well, thank you for explaining. I've had so many people ask me that. I'm very ignorant on how that procedure works, so now we're all very educated on it. At least I am. So
Thank you so much.
So, okay, yeah, but it is all, you know, falls under TCA.
Thank you.
So then we can do review of past sealed bids and mowing contract. Actually, that procedure doesn't apply to the mowing contract.
Okay, so what procedure goes with that? Because I had someone ask that said that they put in a bid for the mowing contract and they never even got it read to the council. So I'm just asking.
We put an ad in the Courier, and then they turned in whatever estimate, because that's a service contract.
Let's make a motion to suspend the rules, and let us speak on that.
Yeah, motion to suspend the rules.
Lost me here.
Second.
Lost me.
How many bids did we get for the mowing?
Two.
Just 2 bids, and we got both those bids at the council meeting.
Okay,
That's all I have.
Somebody told you that they put in a bid and they didn't get it read?
that's what they said. So it
They
wasn't.
didn't tell me.
Okay. Checking on it. So, but we don't do so for. Why wouldn't we do a bid for the mowing contract? Because how much do we pay for the mowing contract?
Well, we do, it was, but
It
that's
was
what
a
he
bid,
said.
it just wasn't a sealed bid,
Yeah, it's
because
a
you don't
sealed-
have all the.
That's what I was gonna say,
Yeah,
I think that would be a sealed bid.
No, it's
Yeah.
not a sealed bid, it's a
It's still a bid.
contractual agreement,
Yeah.
and you get estimates of how much they would charge.
Why would we not do a sealed bid if it's over that amount?
There are different requirements for construction,
projects.
municipal construction contracts.
Okay.
And the reason you send out bids, that falls under the municipal purchasing law. So any contract for services over $10,000 has to be publicly
Okay, so-
bid and advertised. And so, but not everything has the stringent requirements that public construction contracts.
Gotcha. So construction's more of a sealed bid.
Like big projects. like
Gotcha.
higher.
But and then there's probably some.
Well, they're still gonna be sealed, because you don't wanna say, okay, I got a bid for 20,000, what are you gonna bid? They're still
Yeah.
not gonna be published until after they're all turned in.
Yeah. So
So it's still
I'm
sealed,
just-
it's not the same stringent things as the contract.
I didn't know how to answer this question because exactly that. That's confusing to me. That some things we do sealed, some things we don't. So, and I'm not trying to pick on anybody. I have no idea. So.
It's just a different procedure, depending on, like you said, what it is.
Okay.
You're okay with that one?
I don't have any more questions.
Okay, Hillcrest and McGinnis intersection, do not enter signs?
Yeah, last one. I guess we have a one-way sign on Hillcrest McGinnis, but they're asking for a do not enter sign. So you go up there, it's a one-way street. Do not enter sign right there on that corner. They're asking for that because I guess there's several people that are just driving down it anyways.
On what corner?
McGinnis. They're coming off of Hillcrest and just going right back down McGinnis instead of going down
instead of going all the way around the loop.
Yes.
Yeah, there's
They
two.
live right there, is what they do.
I know, they don't know a lot around, yeah.
You ain't telling.
Probably be a good idea to do it.
Okay.
I saw it the other day when I was up there.
So, let's bring that to attention. If y'all wanted to put a sign up on that, that'd be.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Motion to put a sign up.
Okay. I've got.
Still
Wait,
got
wait,
ground
wait.
that way. Sorry. Talking to the assistant chief real quick, he brought up a good point about 15 mile per hour down there. What we need to do is from Hackett all the way around to the square, make it 15, because there's already a 15 mile an hour zone down there around Sam's. And you don't want to have a 15 and a 25 and a 15 and a 25. It's going to be a speed zone trap nightmare. So we need to make it 15 all the way around. That'd be better. That would be fair and more
Makes sense.
better to the public, I think.
Then I'll amend whatever I did.
I just wanted to keep y'all heads up about that, so.
So could you rescind your motion when it starts?
I'll rescind my motion and make a motion that we make it 15 miles an hour from
Hackett.
Hackett to,
from Hackett to Mr. Sam Gray's
around-
in honor of him.
just consider, how about the four-way stop
At
Rojas?
At Rojas.
At Rojas, that way it's already done.
Yeah.
We ain't gotta do nothing but one side, done.
Okay, so
I'm good with it.
Second.
Motion to make, second, to
Yeah.
make it 15 miles from Hackett all the way up to the rural houses. Any discussion on that?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, we're in another motion about the do not enter signs.
Motion to install a do not enter sign.
Second.
That's at the corner of McGinnis and
Les knows where it's at.
Hillcrest, but they're going in the other direction down to it. Okay, just so we're clear on that.
Yeah.
All right,
We're clear.
all right. Any discussion on that?
I don't think that's gonna stop anybody from,
It's
that's
not.
been
But
doing
we
it
done our
for
job.
30 years, but that's fine, if we wanna
Okay.
spend money to do it, it's fine.
Okay.
I was asked to.
I get it.
Okay, any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve?
No, I had one, I was gonna ask to motion to add one thing to the agenda, because I was asked to add this to the agenda. To
You
this,
have to vote to do
we
it.
would have to vote to add this to the agenda, so I'm gonna make a motion to vote, you all can vote for or against, it's up to you.
Just go ahead and tell us what it is. Kinda eat yourself up on protocol.
Can it not, it can't wait till the next meeting?
I was asked to do this meeting, so,
Alright.
and I'm just a servant, that doesn't mean I have to. I'll make my motion that we add, animal shelter discussion to this meeting.
That's gonna be a long discussion, that needs to be done.
I make a motion that we put it off until the next meeting, because it is gonna be a long discussion, and it's one that we can probably not financially tackle anyway, even though I would love to see it happen.
Does it need to be a council meeting or a public meeting?
I
Probably,
think we need to discuss it, find out what our options are, what we plan to do,
Because
how
it's
we
not
can help.
something the city can take on. There's lots of wonderful projects the city would love to take on, but we can't.
we're talking $300,000 at least, and then you have to
It is-
maintain it.
yeah. It's a need.
There's been some
Nobody's
stuff
doubting that.
with, as far as like,
Excuse me,
where
Jesse
we-
has his hand up. so good.
What, did we ever get a second?
No.
Alright.
no, he used motion in that to put it as the
You-
next.
You already had a motion on the table.
Yeah, so I'm gonna, anyways, I'm not gonna rescind my motion, but if y'all don't vote for it, then it dies, so Sam had a
Okay.
motion.
I didn't want to overstep your bounds. I think we're
You're
on the
fine,
same
I
page.
think mine died, so you go ahead and make your motion.
Motion to discuss animal shelter at the next meeting.
I'll second that.
Motion
Okay.
and second. Any discussion?
Yes, I got discussion on that. When we do discuss this is the things I'm just giving y'all so that you can bring to the table. Private versus public, there's gonna be more restrictions on public than there is private. But the point being here is that there are laws in the books that we're technically supposed to enforce, but we don't have the ability to enforce them because we don't have the shelter. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So it's something that.
Hold on, before you say that, you're talking maybe county, because the city has a place to enforce it, because we do have kennels for dogs. So we have a place, so it's not the city that's not enforcing it. So make sure we're clear on
Yeah,
what we're
yeah.
talking about.
So yeah, and I just encourage everyone to, just ask around about this, get all kinds of opinions on this, because this is something that's definitely needed. It's not a passion of mine personally, but I've had a lot of people ask.
I would like to pass this and move it to where we can get South Carthage and Warrenville and the county all together in one room so we can all talk about it instead of just us deciding, like, this is what
I
we're
agree,
gonna
I
do.
agree.
So let's not, I mean,
And maybe we could just at least start a conversation so we know what to go to them with and just, you know, it's, at least put some thought into it. And good things take time. We're not gonna solve this in the next meeting or the next 20 meetings. We're gonna, it's gonna take
hopefully
time.
before 20 meetings.
Yeah, but you
That's
get what
like
I'm
2
saying.
years.
We need to start somewhere, so.
Yeah, I do want to say something, because there's been some indifference of our animal control. We have two of the best animal control officers anywhere. I'd put them up against anyone, and I think there's been some notion that we don't have that. We have a very good animal control, and we only have jurisdiction of our town and the animals in our town.
Yep.
So I think, yes, I would agree, let's make it a citywide, a countywide
We're just allowed to
situation.
do so much is all we can do.
I start to say, animal control is great, but if you don't have a facility to take care of it, you know, their hands are
Yeah.
somewhat tied.
Everyone's hands tied, that's what I'm saying, so at least we can get the ball
Okay, so we're
started.
putting this on next month, we'll
Yep.
discuss it next month, okay.
All right.
Is that it?
That's
I
it.
make a motion to
Motion
adjourn.
adjourned.
We gotta vote on
We
that.
didn't vote on
Oh.
it. We only had it
So we
second.
don't have to vote to put it on, I mean, it can be put on.
Yeah, you just, somebody
put-
email
somebody put it on
Danielle.
there.
and
Oh,
say,
yeah,
Any
motion
question?
in a second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go.